don't know if this is going to happen too often, but the last number was a Michel Ancel game. At number 83, we took a look at Rayman. This time, we are taking a look at number 82, which is also another Michel Ancel game, Beyond Good and Evil. It came out in 2003. It's a singular experience. There's no sequel for this. There's no franchise. But this is a game that is unforgettable, often acknowledged as an inspiration for lots of other titles out there, and a wonderful game to experience in its own right.
It's also the only game on the list, and I can say this with confidence, that borrows its title from Nietzsche.
Right.
Cool.
It's definitely a high concept experience. You play a character named Jade who is kind of thrust into this dark conspiracy. She can't really trust the government. She can't really trust all of these forces all around her. A lot of her friends are put in peril. A lot of children are put in peril. And she has the ability to be an investigative journalist and take photographs and send data back and earn some revenue so that she can kind of continue her investigations and join this kind of resistance force. It's a complex little action adventure with this tremendous leaning towards being a very literate experience.
It's also a very multicultural experience.
Yes, it is.
It's a game that is incredibly vast in scope. I mean, it's probably only the Zelda games rival this game in scope. I mean, this world continues to sprawl in all kinds of different directions. There's all kinds of places for you to explore. It does the macro and the micro as well as any game ever has in video game history. It has a terrific sense of place. I mean, you're riding in boats out on the open water, and you're right, that's my favorite thing about the game, is the way that you're always photographing the species. You aren't killing everything.
Yes.
You're just taking photos of them, and the photography mechanic in the game is so compelling. I mean, it's more compelling than shooting things is in so many other games. And for some reason, you're just sort of you're studying the game world around you, and every time you're studying it, all the time that you're spending studying it, you're developing a closer, more intimate relationship with the world around you. And so few games do that. So few games manage to pull that off. And then to top it all off, you've got this central character who is this incredibly strong woman who is completely beautiful. She's got a pig for a friend, a talking pig named Paige, who's obnoxious and flawed.
And helpful.
And at times often helpful. He farts, you know, like your friend Scott.
And then there's also this other heroic figure, this sort of prototypical heroic figure that they encounter along the way. The game has lots and lots of layers, and what's amazing about Beyond Good and Evil is that everything worked and everything was cohesive and it all gelled together. Taken as a holistic start to finish story, it really does transport you. You really do feel like you go to this alien world.
It has this terrific unfolding quality, this organic quality. I mean, all the parts of the world seem to fit together. And this is
and they feel like they're living too. I mean, the TV screens flicker to life. There's information. You start getting hounded by the propaganda that's everywhere around you. You start reading newspapers and blogs, and you've got this fantastic little talking digital assistant guy that is so flamboyant and crazy, but fun, you know? It's just filled with character that you don't normally... Yeah, you don't normally see these kinds of characters in video games.
And also, it's got a lot of different gears as well. It's got a stealth section in the game that it does really well. You know, a lot of times these games will try to do lots of different things and only do them kind of half-assed or poorly. This game does everything well. The third-person action is great, the fighting is great, and the stealth is great, and you know, this game just over-delivers on every front. In fact, we've taken a lot of looks at Beyond Good and Evil over the years. Let's take a look back right now.
This game came out of nowhere. I remember talking to the guy who did this game, the programmer, who is actually the guys who did Rayman.
He's the creator of Rayman. His name is Michel Ancel.
You know the dude with no arms and no legs?
No, Michel has arms and legs, but Rayman doesn't.
Right, that's true.
Right.
Beyond Good and Evil is one of my favorite games of the entire year.
It's an action-adventure sort of role-playing style game. It's similar to something like a Zelda or Munch's Odyssey.
And you're gonna laugh at me, but it almost has an element of Grand Theft Auto in there as well.
Yeah, it does.
In that there's this living, breathing world that's happening all around you.
Yes. And what's happened is you're caught up in this story, which is about sort of government and media corruption. And it's a mature themed action-adventure game with a very cartoony, stylistic look.
But the music really blew me away. I mean, it's very cinematic.
Beyond Good and Evil, one of the great video games that nobody has ever played of all time.
Well, it gets talked about enough.
People
so I think
by game reviewers, by people on the inside of the industry.
There's something special about the collection of people that they have working on these titles, because these games that they make don't feel like anything else.
Well, the strange thing is, going back to this game, and I finished it a long time ago on the PlayStation 2, and seeing it again, visually it really pops. But what's more interesting to me is how these characters, and there's so many of them, are introduced at such a fast clip, and they're all totally memorable.
Yeah. So congratulations again, Michelle Ancel. That's 83 and 82. Good work.
Mwah.